Deep in the backwoods of Letcher County, Kentucky, a redneck's wife went into labor in the middle of the night. The frantic husband called a doctor out to assist in the delivery. Since there was no electricity, the doctor handed the father-to-be a lantern and said,
"Here, you hold this high so I can see what I'm doing."
Soon a baby boy was brought into the world. The redneck sat the lantern down to take a swig of whiskey.
"Whoa there,"
said the doctor.
"Don't be in such a rush to put that lantern down. I think there's another one coming."
Sure enough, within minutes he had delivered a baby girl.
"Hold that lantern up. Don't set it down. There's another one on its way,"
said the doctor. Within a few minutes, he had delivered a third baby.
"Nope. Don't be in a hurry to put down that lantern. It seems there's yet another one coming,"
cried the doctor. The redneck scratched his head in bewilderment and asked the doctor,
"You reckon it might be the light that's attracting them?"
One night, little Johnny went to sleep and dreamt his Uncle Bill died. He woke up, and that evening, his dad got a call saying that Uncle Bill died. The next night, little Johnny went to sleep and dreamt his Aunt Joy died. He woke up, and then that evening, his dad got a call saying that Aunt Joy died. Little Johnny told his daddy,
2 days ago, I had a dream Uncle Bill died, and then yesterday, I had a dream Aunt Joy died."
His dad said,
"That's just a coincidence."
The next morning, he tells his dad,
"I had a dream that my dad died."
His dad was terrified. He had a terrible day at work and took every precaution. He didn't eat any of the food in case of food poisoning, and he drove slowly in case of a car wreck. When he finally got home, little Johnny's mom asked him how his day at work was.
"Much worse than your day, I'm sure,"
his dad replied.
"I don't know,"
said his mom.
"The milkman dropped dead on the front porch today."
Joe grew up in a small town, then moved away to attend college and law school. He decided to come back to the small town because he could be a big man in this small town. He really wanted to impress everyone. He opened his new law office, but business was very slow at first. One day, he saw a man coming up the sidewalk to his office. He decided to make a big impression on this new client when he arrived. As the man came to the door, Joe picked up the phone. He motioned the man in, all while saying, "No, absolutely not. You tell those clowns in New York that I won't settle this case for less than $1 million. Yes, the appeals court has agreed to hear the case next week. I'll be handling the primary argument, and the other members of my team will provide support. Okay, tell the DA that I'll meet with him next week to discuss the details." This sort of thing went on for almost 5 minutes. All the while, the man sat patiently as Joe rattled instructions. Finally, Joe put down the phone and turned to the man. "I'm sorry for the delay," he said, "but as you can see, I'm very busy. What can I do for you?" The man replied,
I came to hook up your phone."
Two twin boys, age 6, had developed extreme personalities. One was a pessimist, and the other a total optimist. Concerned, their parents took them to a psychiatrist. First, the psychiatrist treated the pessimist. To brighten his outlook, the psychiatrist took him to a room filled with toys. But instead of yelping with delight, the little boy burst into tears.
"What's the matter?"
the psychiatrist asked.
"Don't you want to play with any of the toys?"
"Yeah,
The little boy bawled.
but if I did, I'd only break them."
Next, the psychiatrist treated the optimist. Trying to dampen his outlook, the psychiatrist took him to a room piled to the ceiling with horse manure. But instead of wrinkling his nose in disgust, the optimist climbed to the top of the pile and began gleefully digging out scoop after scoop with his bare hands.
"What are you doing?"
the baffled psychiatrist asked. The little boy replied,
"With all this manure? There must be a pony in here somewhere."
A 15-year-old Amish boy and his father visited the city for the very first time. They wandered around, marveling at the different sights. Eventually, they got to a mall. They were amazed by almost everything they saw. But they were especially amazed at two shiny silver walls that could move apart and then slide back together again. The boy asked, "What is this, Father?" The father, never having seen an elevator before, responded,
Son, I have never seen anything like this in my life. I don't know what it is.
While the boy and his father were watching with amazement, an old lady in a wheelchair rolled up to the moving walls and pressed a button. The walls opened, and the lady passed between them into a small room. The walls closed, and the boy and his father watched the small numbers above the walls light up sequentially. They continued to watch until it reached the last number, and then the numbers began to light in the reverse order. Finally, the walls opened again, and a gorgeous 24-year-old blonde woman stepped out. The father, not taking his eyes off the young woman, said quietly to his son,
Junior, go get your mother.
A photographer from a well-known national magazine was assigned to cover the fires at Yellowstone National Park. When the photographer arrived, he realized that the smoke was so thick that it would seriously impede or make it impossible for him to photograph anything from ground level. He requested permission to rent a plane and take photos from the air. He arrived at the airport and saw a plane warming up near the gate. He jumped in with his bag and shouted, "Let's go!" The pilot swung the little plane into the wind, and within minutes, they were in the air. The photographer said, "Fly over the park and make 2 or 3 low passes so I can take some pictures."
Why?
Asked the pilot.
Because I'm a photographer,
He responded.
and photographers take photographs.
The pilot was silent for a moment. Finally, he stammered,
You mean you're not the flight instructor?
A married couple was in a terrible accident where the man's face was severely burned. The doctor told the husband that they couldn't graft any skin from his body because he was too skinny. So, the wife offered to donate some of her own skin. However, the only skin on her body that the doctor felt was suitable would have to come from her buttocks. The husband and wife agreed that they would tell no one about where the skin came from, and they requested that the doctor also honor their secret. After all, this was a delicate matter. After the surgery was completed, everyone was astounded at the man's new face. He looked more handsome than he ever had before. All his friends and relatives just went on and on about his youthful beauty. One day, he was alone with his wife, and he was overcome with emotion at her sacrifice. He said, "Dear, I just want to thank you for everything you did for me. How can I possibly repay you?"
My darling,
She replied,
I get all the thanks I need every time I see your mother kiss you on the cheeks.